Okay, let's take a look at a good place to connect it. Now the ABC voltage is applied to the grids, usually the first, maybe first and second tubes, the IF and the mixer tube. And it's developed down here in the detector tube. It's developed in this circuit here. Across this capacitor, this is probably the ABC slow it down capacitor. You have a resistor here, R4, and then beyond that, look, there's a connection back to each of the control grids through the resistor of the first two tubes. So that's definitely, this is the ABC line, no doubt about it. Where can we find it? We don't want to connect right on the grid of these tubes because these are high impedance circuits out here. Like we look at this R1, see, R1, 1 megohm. High impedance stuff out here, hooking up low impedance or even high impedance instrumentation will still knock the wind out of these circuits. So we go back to a lower impedance area. Let's see, R4, that 2.2 megohms. So get back behind that one. Now we're looking at pretty much what's coming right out of this detector here. So there's a lot more oomph available here to supply a little tiny current to my meter to make it work. So here's the spot to go, top of C11, or this is handy. Here's the volume control, top of the volume control. The DC that's developing here is blocked from the rest of the radio by this capacitor. So yeah, there's actually DC, it's actually flowing through the volume control. But that should be 5, I guess, eh? What is that? That's 6. R6 is also pretty high. 500 megohms. So we're going to try to connect here. This is easy to find, right? It's the volume control. One wire goes to ground and the other wire goes on its merry way. So it should be easy to figure out. Easy. Easy as pie. Okay, so I got my voltmeter leads here. The voltmeter is switched on. A little fuzzy in the background there. And I want to find top of the volume control. I have volume control down here. There's the 2 outside terminals, the middle one. Okay, so this one that's easily accessed at the front of the radio here, it's right here. Don't be fooled. What's going on with the radio? Where'd that come from? Okay, we'll assume that's some outside interference that's just showing up. It's not the radio itself. Okay. I don't know. Another curveball thrown at me. So we'll connect this. I can't get in by the volume control in there. It's too tight. But I can see the wire goes back to this terminal here. Turn it up a bit while we do this. Okay, connect it. It really didn't affect the operation of the radio, including the putt-putt. Don't be coming from the radio, please. Where are we now? We have the ABC, here it is. The meter reads upscale on a negative voltage. So we're up around, it's 5 volts full scale, so we're looking at, what's that, 2 volts? 1.5, a little under 1.5 volts. So we'll vary the signal strength going into the radio, and we should see the ABC vary. I'll just tune the signal generator. There we go. That's pretty nice. That's great. Now, we want to peak the IF so we get a maximum reading on the meter here. First, we'll make sure we're set to 455. The putt-putt is really bothering me. Now we're going to tune each of the IF coils here. I don't need this on here right now. Oh, don't fall over. This would be a bad time to fall over. Okay, I'm going to rotate this. Unreliable. Okay. These clips really are just not doing the trick. It's a little more grabby. Back on. Hey, the ticking was gone while this was not on there. Okay. Observations at every turn. Put them all in the soup. Mix them all up. What do you get? Radio goulash. Okay. There we go. I'm trying to turn this so you can see the IFs I'm going to be adjusting. Who's first, who's second? I'm not sure. We're going to do this based on just this voltmeter over here. Try not to get my elbow in the way. Start down here. Oh, you know what? I can look quickly on the schematic. I can see very quickly which is which here. Let's be smart. Okay. Yeah, normally I don't care about being smart. It's down here. There we go. Actually, we should start with number 2, shouldn't we? Watching the old meter here. Wow. How did I get that bad? It's been a year and a half since I've worked on this radio. I did it in my old shop with my old brain knowledge. Oh, that's a pretty significant improvement. I'm a little stunned here. Just trying to get the maximum AVC. What happened to that one? Wow, it's a hair trigger. Now, after doing this, it's going to upset all that other stuff I did about the front panel, but very slightly. Very slightly. Not necessarily, won't necessarily throw it off, but it might. Pointer location, all that stuff. Okay, where I'm at now. IF is tuned. We'll double check the front of the radio. So disconnect the old signal generator from there. I'm going to leave the AVC meter connected. Leave them tangled. I'm going to connect the output of the signal generator back on the radio, but I'm going to do it again loosely coupling it for some reason. I'm enjoying doing that these days. That's loose, man. That's really loose. Okay, I think clearly now. I'll disconnect the shorting on the local oscillator. Radio sounds fine. Check the tuning. Right on 1500. What will it receive? Let's see. Okay, 1442. Here we go, 1500. Oh, smokes, what happened there? Really? What's that AVC meter doing? Nothing. Let's turn this up. Am I glued out? 1500. What's happened? What's happened? What's happened to me? Where'd it go? Let's try. Just to see if that makes a difference. What happened? Where'd it go? Okay, I'm going to try and directly connect it here. I mean, I do have in kind of matching stuff going here. I shouldn't worry too much about directly connecting it. Okay, now 1488 when it should be 1500. Let me just check the dial here really accurately. It's right on 1500. So now we're back to adjusting C6. So the radio will tune in 1500. I'm watching the meter. $1,500 at this end. So you know, what this really means is my original assumption that the IF was okay was a bad assumption. Let's go down to 600. Or was it good and now I've mistuned it? Who can tell? Who can tell? What do we get at 600? I swear there's two peaks there. Let me watch this meter this time. One. There is two. Okay, how much you want to bet? That's because the front end antenna tuning, if we can call it that, is off a little bit. And the SDR will reveal that if that's the case. So we're seeing a peak as the signal passes through the IF properly, and then another peak when the front end tuning is boosting the signal. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Absolutely, make sure it's correct. 600. Turn this to 600. Which one of those is the right one? That's a much higher one. Oh, it's right near 600. Can't get much closer than that. Okay, watching the meter. Oh, screwdriver slid out. So we're going to get this thing lined up on the two extreme ends, and then we're going to check right in the middle and see if see how it's working. So tune to 600, tune to 600, here 600, perfect. We'll go back up to 15. Watching the meter. There we go. Back down to 600. I can hear something coming out of this radio. I don't think I should. That's pretty funny, eh? I get this thing working really well, and now I'm saying, hey, I'm hearing stuff coming out of the radio. It shouldn't happen. After all, it is in my shop. 600. And see, it's off. It's, you know what? It's got two peaks. I don't know if this makes sense. 590 seems to be leaking in along with 600, like it's tuning two things at once. That's possible. If the tuning is kind of broad or there's two peaks, maybe that's possible. Why is there two peaks? It's because of the RF. Okay, so now we're supposed to do the RF at 1500. Back up. So I'm declaring the local oscillator okay. Okay, so I peaked the meter. Now we'll do this RF. This is the one that was it's pretty much wide open. About to get the screw falling out to get it up that high. Let's go down to 600 here. Right on. Something funny there, isn't there? See, there's a little thing there. As I keep going, the real guy shows up. Okay, now it's time to use the SDR to take a look at this and see if we can spot the front end tuning curve moving up and down the band as I tune the radio, and whether it actually is tracking with the dial. Maybe first let's put first let's dial right to the middle, 1 million, my favorite spot. 1 million, and then we'll tune the signal generator 1 million, see if that's really the spot. 2 million. Oh. Oops. Wrong band. Okay, can't get there. Get really close, but here we come. And watch this meter too. That's the peak. Hey, right on 1 million practically. Fantastic. I wasn't looking at that while I was tuning it. Fantastic, because, you know, how accurate do I really have the dial set? You know, I mean, how accurate can you really be with all this stuff? So it looks like the local oscillator is tracking beautifully across here. The question is, what's going on with the front end tuning in this radio? And that's where the SDR is going to come in. Okay, let me get it going. Okay, so we're looking at the SDR now, which is just kind of getting connected to that crazy coil. It's laying on the radio basically. Now, I'm going to tune the radio and we'll see something moving down here. And that will show us where the local oscillator actually is. And we're right around 1200 there. It's pretty obvious what you can see it. Now that's easy to see, the local oscillator. That's easy to see. It's up around 1400. Now, I'm looking for something else that's moving. It's very hard to see. So as I turn the local oscillator down, you can see a whole bunch of signals down in here moving up at the same pace, like a bunch of signals marching together. Very hard to see. But just keep this moving steady. You know, I think I can change this display to make things appear better. Let me see if I can do that. I think it's over here, actually. I can do that. Whoa! That sure did it. That might help. Not so much this. Hey, I'm still learning to use this radio. Make it kind of more sensitive here. I'm watching for things moving around down in this area. 455 kilohertz below the oscillator frequency. There we go. Okay, so this is, I'm doing this myself, so it's a little easier for me to do it. This particular signal here is currently boosted by the tuning of the radio. Let's see, the radio, a local oscillator is at 1220. 1220. So using my ever so powerful calculator here, I will take 1220 and I'll subtract 455 from it. We end up with 765. 765. Now where is this occurring? 750. 750. But the local oscillator has opened the door to signals here at 765. But the front end of the radio is looking at 750. Okay. Let's move the local oscillator way up to the high end here, and we'll compare, if we can, the same kind of thing. Up we go. Okay, I'm going to tune it up to 1500 here. Okay, so that's 1500. The radio is now tuned to 1500. The local oscillator is 1950. So it's pretty easy math. 1950 minus 450 is 1500. So the front end should be peaking, producing a peak right here. Or no, right here. Right here, 1500. So in order to see this, I'm going to tune the radio back and forth a little bit and see what happens in here. If it's tuned absolutely correctly at 1500, this peak will get bigger. It should be bigger right now. Here we go. Let's see. 1500. Wow. I can't really see anything. Pretty interesting stuff on the bottom here, right? What is all that? Oh my gosh. Tell you, it doesn't take long for this, the information on the screen here from the SDR to just blow my head off. So, But there's really a different approach we can take here. Let's go back to the camera, if I can get there. Rather than using a single frequency input from the fixed frequency signal generator, I'm not going to put in the signal from the sweep generator, which I turned off earlier just to make sure it wasn't joining in the fun here. I'll attach this here. So this is now connected directly to the antenna, The output is low. In fact, it's not even on. Okay, it's not sweeping, but it will sweep from the bottom of the AM band to the top. And it's going to be doing it very quickly, so we're going to hear a bzzz come out of this radio when I do this. And when I do this. And when I do this. And this. There we hear it. And got the volume turned down so low. Okay, so that's the sound of the signal sweeping past the band like crazy. Let's go see what Mr. SDR shows us. Which may be nothing, I'm not sure. Let's go take a look. Oh, look at that. Okay, it's exciting stuff. Now, first of all, local oscillator, can we still spot it on here? Yes. It's right up around 2000 there. We want this at, what did I say? 1955 would be a good spot to put this right now. Okay, it's at 1950. And this is clearly the front end tuning, this area in here. Just peaking at 14, it should be up here. It should be up around 15. Up here. Isn't that right? The radio is tuned to 15. The front end should be at 15, but it's not. It's down here. Okay, now I can move it. Let's set it right on properly here. So it should be where the green line is now. Okay, I'll do that by adjusting the oh, this is the capacitor that's fully adjusted open. I don't think I can move it up anymore. Let's see. Where's it going? Looks like it's going down. Not much. There it goes. Going down. Capacitor's closing rapidly now. Open it up again. We can't get to 1500. We can't get it there. So see, when we were measuring this, we're using the AVC technique. I could see that it was coming up higher and higher, but never ever showing a peak. So I cannot peak the front end here, and it's in the wrong spot by quite a bit. Like you can really see the response curve is just not helping 1500. So this radio is running without the help of its front end, and in fact its front end is inviting the wrong signal in, this one here. So you boosted quite a bit from all the rest. Okay, so let's tune the radio right, well it is pretty much at the top, isn't it? Let's go down to the bottom now. Tune it down to 600. Okay, there's 600. Now, so we're at 1055, subtract 455 is exactly 600. So we go down to 600, and lo and behold, the peak is over here. It's off. Okay, so the radio's trying to listen to 600, and the front end of the radio is paying attention to 590, and that's probably exactly why we could hear 590. Because it was boosted enough, get enough of its signal into the IF, even though it's not coming in at 455, it's coming in for, I don't know, 45 or 465. It's off, it's still enough. It's enough to fool you when you tune the radio, you think it's working, but in fact, wow, okay, so this SDR thing really does help a lot, and the sweep generator. Now I can't move that up any higher. Like I'll adjust that capacitor again. Watching just to the left of the green line, tightening up the capacitor, and there it goes, going down. and bring it up, 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 up. So there just isn't enough. No, there's too much. There's too much trimmer capacity there. Too much trimmer capacity. How the heck can that be? I can end up with too much there. How am I ever going to reduce it? This has something to do with the antenna. Let's, okay, quick. Jump to the schematic. Let's jump, 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 jump. There we go. Good show. So I can pop back and forth from schematic to radio just like that. Okay. So these are the two capacitors that just don't seem to have what it takes. There's another one here. That might have some influence on the situation. And then there's the capacitance of this, which I don't know what to think of that. I don't know what to think of that. And then there's this one down here. Now, this is a big one, I think. C2 0.01. 0.001. It's not that big. So this guy might be part of the picture too, but I changed this one and I changed this one. Didn't I? Didn't I do that? Sometimes this capacitor is right on the antenna, right on the back of the antenna. Yes, and I did change it. I did change it. I'm looking at it. And this here one, I'm sure I've changed it. Shouldn't have done that. So what happens if I fiddle with the capacitance of this stuff? How can I do that? Stick my hands around it and things like that. Let's go back to SDR, Mr. SDR, and remind ourselves where we are. Okay, we're tuned around 600, and there's the peak right there, where the green line is now. So if you look below on the waterfall, it's this thing right here. Okay, so I'm going to fiddle around with the antenna here. First I'm going to squeeze it with my fingers. Look at that, it did move it. It moved it down. Let's take my fingers away. Okay, I'm going to grab a metal plate. There's a metal plate. I'm hanging on to it with my hand. I'm going to put it right up against the windings here on the antenna. Didn't seem to do much. Squeezing it with my fingers seemed to have a bigger effect. Definitely. And I'm going to touch one lead on that antenna capacitor. The other lead. Not doing anything of significance. The other capacitor in question is in the radio, on the back of the radio. I have to hunt it down. Would those really make a difference? So this is the one I was just touching. Putting my finger on these windings here. What about my connection to the what about the connection right to the signal generator? Is that throwing it off? Okay, so it's down here. Well, if I disconnect the signal generator, I don't think we're going to see anything. Well, I don't have to disconnect it first. I can just kind of shut it off. Turn it down. Yeah, see, it just disappeared. So as I vary the strength, is it moving? No, it's fixed in one spot. Oh, there, you really see it now. Now it's really clear to see. No question about it. That's because I turned my sweeper way up. So you can see it's missing 600 by a hair. I'm going to have to have to take away some capacitance. Okay. Well, you know what? That's the end of the road for today, I think. We'll ponder about how to do this. You know, this is a really small thing, but I think it's really, really important to get this right on. And you know, I got to tell you, there's been a number of radios that I have tuned, and this exact same thing occurs, where I cannot peak the antenna coil. This has happened numerous times to me, come to think of it. And I've just left it as high as I could get it with the capacitor run right out, knowing that that's not the best, but because I always thought these front-end peaks were big, broad things. And I think it was very important. But they're not. They're sharp as can be. And they've got to be dead on. Okay. And you never figure this out with a single frequency generator and a meter. I don't think you'd ever figure that out. Okay. Now, I want to thank you very much for watching. And tomorrow we'll try to make some improvements here. Finally. Bye. See ya.